What happens when the most dangerous man in East Asia gets on a private jet with his crime family fiancée and a flight attendant who is afraid of absolutely nothing? This story came to the vault, and I knew immediately we had to tell it. Welcome back to Story Vault, the home of stories that pull you in, keep you up at night, and leave you wanting more. If you're new here, welcome to the family. This is where the most powerful, most emotional, most unforgettable stories live. And today's story? It is one of those ones. We're talking about a billionaire mafia boss who has never lost control of anything in his life. A woman who has survived things that would break most people and still shows up with a smile and a first aid kit and 30,000 feet in the air. Everything they both thought they knew about power, survival, and love is about to be tested. But before we dive in, if you are watching this right now, hit that like button, drop a comment with the city you're watching from, and hit subscribe so you never miss what happens next. Let's see how far this story travels. Alright. The private jet sits on a Seoul runway. Midnight. No terminal.
No passengers. No noise.
Just runway lights bleeding gold into the dark, and the low hum of engines warming up, like something waking from a very expensive sleep. Sera Malone boards first. She always boards first. 3 months working private flights has taught her one thing above everything else. When you serve powerful people, you make sure the world is perfect before they arrive to ruin it. She straightens every glass, checks every cabinet latch, smooths every crease from the cream leather seats. She is 27 years old. She has served princes, politicians, and tech moguls. At 30,000 feet, she has learned to read a cabin before a single passenger steps through the door. And tonight, something feels different. 2 men board first. They don't speak. They don't look at her. They move through the cabin the way shadows move. Quietly, completely, leaving no room for doubt about what they are. Bodyguards. They sweep every inch of the jet. Check the galley, the bathroom, behind every seat. Then they nod. And Ryu Jae-won steps through the door. He is dressed in all black. No watch.
No jewelry. No tie.
The kind of man who doesn't need accessories to announce that he owns the room. He is 34 years old, and he has been running the Ryu Syndicate since he was 26. 8 years at the top of the most feared criminal empire in East Asia. Ports, territories, governments, boardrooms that smile at him in daylight and pray at night that he never calls. He steps into the cabin, and the temperature drops 2 degrees. Not from the air conditioning. Sera has served powerful men before, but none of them carry silence the way Ryu Jae-won does. His silence is not emptiness. It is a weapon. Loaded. Patient. Waiting. He doesn't look at her. He takes his seat, the wide cream leather chair by the window, opens his tablet, and begins reading. Like the rest of the world, has already been dismissed. Sera tells herself not to look at him too long. She has one rule on private flights. Never look them in the eyes too long. She looks away. Behind him, Choi Yuna steps aboard. White fur coat. Diamonds at her throat. The kind of beauty that has been carefully maintained since birth. She surveys the cabin, the way a queen surveys a room she already owns. And then the complaints begin. The cabin is too cold.
Sera smiles.
I'll adjust the temperature, Ms. Choi. The tea is weak. I'll prepare another cup. This seat is not comfortable. Sera glances at the custom chair, a piece of furniture that costs more than her entire apartment back in Seoul. I'll see what I can do. From the cockpit doorway, Captain Park Do-hyun leans out. He is the only man alive who makes jokes around Ryu Jae-won and keeps his teeth.
Careful, Sera.
He grins. If you make this cabin any more perfect, Ms. Choi is going to demand you move into her house. Yuna turns sharply. Excuse me. Do-hyun smiles like a man who has never once feared consequences. Nothing, Ms. Choi. Pilot humor. Very dangerous at high altitude. Jae-won looks up from his tablet. For half a second. Just half. Sera thinks he might smile. He doesn't. But his eyes find her across the cabin. And hold. She looks away first. Yuna crosses her legs toward Jae-won. Her voice is silk. Deliberate. Your father called again. He wants the Choi Alliance terms confirmed. Before we land in Tokyo. Jae-won doesn't look up. Tell him the plane has no fax machine. Sera turns away quickly. She doesn't laugh. She is a professional. But something moves across her face. Fast, small, impossible to catch. Unless you are already watching. Jae-won is already watching. Yuna notices. Something funny? No, Ms. Choi. Do-hyun from the cockpit. It was a little funny. Jae-won, flat, Do-hyun. Fly the plane. I am flying the plane. Tragically, I can still hear all of you. Yuna leans closer to Jae-won. Her voice drops, but not enough. I don't understand why your pilot is allowed to speak this freely. Because he is the only man I trust with my life. That is not a qualification. It is the only qualification that matters to me. Sera moves through the cabin quietly, collecting Yuna's untouched tea, resetting the galley, doing what she always does, being invisible in plain sight. As she passes Jae-won's seat, light turbulence shakes the jet. She steadies herself. With one hand on the wall, Jae-won speaks before she can move. Are you all right? She blinks. Yes, sir. You nearly fell. Nearly doesn't count. Do-hyun from the cockpit. That is exactly what I said in flight school. They failed me anyway.
Sera log.
She doesn't mean to. It escapes before she can stop it. Warm and real and completely unprofessional. And Jae-won looks at her. Not coldly. Not the way he looks at Yuna. Like a contract he wants to cancel. Curiously. Like she is a puzzle. He didn't expect to find. On his own jet. Yuna's fingers tighten around her bracelet. The flight continues.
Sera serve.
Smiles. Disappears when she needs to. She has worked Jae-won's flights for 3 months. In that time she has learned 3 things about him. He hates unnecessary conversation. He never sleeps on flights. And he looks at his fiancée. Like she is a meeting. He is already late to cancel. Yuna, on the other hand, looks at Jae-won. The way her father looks at a port deal. Something to be acquired, controlled, and never let go of. The engagement between them is not a love story. It is a blood contract. Yuna's father, Chairman Choi, controls the southern shipping ports. Jae-won needs to expand his empire. If the wedding doesn't happen, 2 crime families go to war. And when crime families go to war, it is never the powerful ones who bleed first. Jae-won knows this. He has always known this. It is why he said yes, when saying no would have been the only honest answer. Then the seatbelt sign flashes on. Do-hyun's voice fills the cabin. Lighter than the situation deserves. Small weather system ahead. Everyone stay seated. And pretend you trust me. Yuna sits up. What does that mean? Jae-won buckles his seatbelt. It means stay seated. Sera moves quickly through the cabin. Securing galley cabinets. Checking latches. Taking her jump seat. Outside the oval windows. Clouds swallow the sky. The jet dips. Yuna gasps. Jae-won looks toward the cockpit. Do-hyun. The pilot's voice drops all humor. I see it. A warning tone beeps. Once. Then again. The plane drops hard. Hard enough for Yuna to scream. Sera grabs her harness with both hands. Jae-won's water glass flies from the side table. And shatters on the floor. Do-hyun shouts from the cockpit. Everyone brace. Yuna turns white. Brace? What does he mean, brace? Sera's voice cuts through the panic. Like a blade through silk. Head down. Arms tight. Now. Yuna freezes. Now, Ms. Choi. For the first time in her life, Choi Yuna obeys someone who didn't come from money. Jae-won looks across the cabin at Sera. She is afraid. He can see it in every line of her body. Her hands on the harness. The set of her jaw. The way she breathes. Controlled, deliberate, fighting herself. She is terrified. And she is still calm enough to save all of them. The jet falls again. Metal screams. Clouds, rain, and dark ocean blur outside the windows. Do-hyun's voice comes one last time. Impact in 10 seconds. Sera closes her eyes. and the sky breaks open. And that is where we leave you tonight. The sky has broken open. The jet has gone down. And somewhere on a beach that doesn't appear on any map. For people are about to wake up and discover who they really are when everything else is stripped away. The empire, the contract, the diamonds, the blood, the silence, the fear, all of it gone. And what's left? Come back for episode 2 to find out. If you made it this far, you already know this story has you. So hit that like button right now. Drop your city in the comments. Let's see where the Story Vault family is watching from tonight. Follow the channel so episode 2 lands straight on your feed the moment it drops. And share this with one person who needs a story tonight. I'm your host. This is Story Vault, and we are just getting started.